Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
Why is the world run by old men?
The world's oldest leader, Cameroon's 92-year-old president Paul Biya, announced that he
What?
was running for re-election this year. If he
92?
wins and survives, he would be president
He
until he
looks
was
good.
nearly 100. This is obviously an extreme example.
Okay, so like two things. Yes, I agree. I would never guess he doesn't look 92. He looks to me like 70s. He looks great. But 92 to run for office. And if he survives, so I guess it's a 7-year term till 99. What are we doing?
I don't know why he doesn't want to go on vacation.
What are we doing?
Gerontocracy, or rule by old people. But it's seemingly a growing phenomenon. A decade ago, back in 2015, none of the leaders of the world's 10 most populous countries were above the age of 70.
Yeah, like look.
Back in 2015, none of the leaders of the
These are respectable numbers, like 50s, 60s, like early 60s, 67 is the latest. Okay, that's a little pushing it to 70. I think maybe 70 is like the cutoff. Okay, like Mexico 48, that's a great age.
world's
90.
10 most populous countries were above the age of 70. Today, 9 of them are. This means that
Which basically what this shows to me that all the same people are in power that they used to be. Everybody just got older. 10 years passed, everything got... Basically, add 10 years to every one of them. Okay, no, US added 20 years. 22. Whoa, wow, US 26 years, okay. I mean, honestly, yeah. On average, that's 20 years to... I mean, 10 years to all of them.
well over
Crazy.
half of the world's population is governed by septuagenarian or octogenarian leaders. So in this video, we're going to explore and explain this apparent global gerontocracy, looking at Africa, the continent with the most pronounced gerontocracy, the United States, which has a particularly infamous one, and Europe, which has seemingly avoided it. Never miss an episode, and always feeling the most youthful in the world, with the median age at around 19 years old. The median age of African leaders, however, is about 66,
Wow,
meaning
yeah. Africa has the largest age disparity from the average population to the people in office. Europe is the closest. Europe is almost like Europe actually makes sense. That's how it should be, honestly. To me, that's a very good gap in Europe. The rest of the world is kind of similar.
that it has the most pronounced age gap in the world. We mentioned Cameroon's Paul Biya at the start, in power for more than 40 years and seeking another 7-year term, already aged 92. Incredibly, he's hardly an exception. Uganda's 80-year-old president Yoweri Museveni, in office since 1986, is running for re-election next year, and Cote d'Ivoire's 83-year-old president Alassane Ouattara is seeking a 4th term this year. Long-ruling octogenarians
But
also lead the...
so it seems these are not dictatorships. These are like people actually elect them. So they just don't have a term limit, but they can get run as much as they want. I mean, if people like what they're doing, I guess I do support term limit, but if people vote for them, what can you say? It's not like it's a dictatorship.
the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, and Zimbabwe. Even in more democratic African countries, it's not uncommon to see relatively old leaders elected too. Liberia's President Joseph Boakai is 80, Nigeria's Bola Tinubu is 73, and South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa is 72. So is this a problem? Well, for non-democratic leaders, the problem is less their age and more the corruption, authoritarianism, and repression that enables them to continue to rule well into their twilight years. But advanced age does sometimes throw up governance problems too. Cameroon's Paul Biya, for example, is known for semi-regularly disappearing from public view for extended periods, usually staying in Switzerland, with some speculating that his absences involve time in hospital. But zooming out a bit, there are signs to suggest that there is a widespread frustration at the continent's aged leadership. According to Afrobarometer polling across 34 African countries, an average of 76% of respondents are in favour of a maximum age limit for heads of government. In the last few years, we've also seen youth-led protests.
And then I'm a little confused. So are the elections rigged? Because if 76% do not want these people to be presidents, those 76% have enough votes to not vote them in power.
Corruption.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Is it rigged? Because it seems like it then.
Across Africa, from Kenya to Uganda, Nigeria, and beyond. While the proximate cause for each movement does vary, a common thread is Africa's growing young, tech-savvy, and urban population becoming frustrated at the poor job opportunities, economic insecurity, and bad governance that they face. A feeling of political disenfranchisement as a result of the age gap between what is perceived as an immovable and out-of-touch ruling class and the general population surely only fuels this frustration. In some cases, this tension has brought about generational change through both democratic and undemocratic means. In Senegal, protests preceded an election last year that saw 44-year-old Bassirou Faye elected the country's youngest president. And in Guinea in 2021, 36-year-old military officer Mamadi Doumbouya overthrew the elected government of Alpha Condé, who had controversially been re-elected to a third term after amending the constitution.
Wow, well, 44 is 44 is excellent age to be president. 36, it's illegal in the States. I think 45 is the minimum limit here in the States, right? Yeah, I think it's 45 is the minimum age. But
I don't know if there's an actual.
yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a. Let me Google
There's
it.
like the norm. The norm.
No,
but I don't think there's
I
a
remember
limit.
in the civics class or government class I learned minimum age for president. Oh, sorry, it's 35, not 45. Oh, so 36 would be. Wow, 35 is young. Wow. Hopefully we'll see a 35-year-old.
I don't think we've seen that often.
I don't think there has ever been a 35-year-old. That's why not even 30, like anybody in their 30s, because to become a president, let's be real, you need connections, you need money, you need funding. The longer time period you have to build those connections, the more, the bigger connections you have. As a 35-year-old, if you start like in college building those connections, it's what, 15
You're
years?
maybe a nepo baby.
Unless you like a nepo baby, like realistically, let's say Trump's sons I think are older than 35, but if there was like a Trump relative that's 35 and he would run on that Trump base, that's possible. But realistically, at 35, I just don't think you have enough time to make the connections and gather the funds. But I think Obama got elected in his 40s, didn't he? Yeah, so I think Obama is probably one of the youngest in that I can recall.
Why you always ask me these specific questions? Like I had the exact number.
I mean, you were here, you were
I
alive.
was here.
Gerontocracy is evidently particularly acute in Africa, but it's the United States that probably fairly gets the most attention when it comes to the discussion of gerontocracy. President Donald Trump is 79 years old, really not that much younger than Joe Biden, who bowed out.
I think here in the States, the president is the president, but I think also the big problem is Congress is old as fuck too. Like all the Congress people, well, not all, there's some young, but like the senators, they're old. House of Representatives, they have like a younger ones because there's a lot of them. But when you think of like senators, they're all really old too. That's the problem.
Amid age concerns. Remarkably, Donald Trump, George W. Bush, and Bill Clinton were all born within months of each other in 1946, despite their presidencies spanning more than 3 decades. It's not just presidents either. Despite slightly ticking down after recent elections, the median age of members of the US Congress has risen significantly since the 1980s, and both the House and Senate are among the oldest legislative chambers in the world.
Yeah, House is a little younger than the Senate. Yeah. Like what? 7 years or so younger than the Senate. Yeah, Senate is old, 65 median age.
1980s, and both the House and Senate are among the oldest legislative chambers in the world. It's not even just that the youth are underrepresented either. According to the Pew Research Center, millennials born from 1981 to 1996 overtook baby boomers, 1946 to 1964, to become the most populous generation in the US in 2020. But this is far from being reflected in Congress, which is dominated by boomers and Gen X. So why is this the case in the US? Firstly, and this does apply to the whole world, advances in medicine and public health means that people are just living longer, so aging politicians are able to keep working longer than ever. In the US, it costs a huge amount of money to run a political campaign, meaning that wealthier, better connected, and therefore older Americans are at an advantage. Additionally, minimum age requirements, 35 to be president, 30 to be a senator, 25 to be a representative, and 21 to 25 in many state legislatures, effectively delay the start of political careers. Incumbents also have a distinct advantage. In fact, the incumbent re-election rate for US House members has not dipped below 85% for at least 60
What's
years.
interesting is the ages of the founding fathers when they were, drafting the Constitution. They were quite young men.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, at that time you don't live that long.
Oh, I thought they were old, honestly. They were young?
Oh, they were young.
Oh, I don't know that.
This, coupled with the apparent aversion of many older politicians to the idea of retirement, naturally pushes up the age of the political class. There is obviously something of a vicious cycle here too, in that youth underrepresentation in politics drives lower youth turnout and political engagement, which drives further underrepresentation.
Yeah, it's like kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, almost like the youth don't vote because they don't believe they can change nothing, and because they don't vote, old people get elected. So it's like you gotta vote.
So what? As we established in the introduction though, gerontocracy is by no means exclusive to Africa or the United States, as many of the world's most populous or influential countries are led by septuagenarians and octogenarians. For example, we've got Recep Erdogan, who's 71, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, both 72, Narendra Modi at 74,
What?
Benjamin Netanyahu, 75, Donald Trump and Lula da Silva are both 79, and Ali Khamenei is 86. According to economists, going into 2025, the world's leaders were, on average, older than ever, a trend that they say is largely being driven by autocracies. This makes sense. Autocrats aren't keen on giving up on power, and every year they age, they push up the average. But is a world with older leaders cause for concern? Age can bring greater experience,
Yes,
wisdom, and a
it
sense
is.
of perspective to higher office. But at the same time, it can leave leaders disconnected from their constituents and drive political
Yes.
disenfranchisement. Mental acuity and health concerns aside, some even argue that the world's aging ruling class is a destabilizing force, as these so-called old men in a hurry rush to secure a legacy, like, say, territorial expansion. So where do we need to look to find an exception to this seemingly worldwide gerontocracy? Strangely, the answer is the world's oldest continent, Europe. Despite Europe's high median age of just under 45, today's European leaders buck the global trend and are on average a relatively youthful 55. So why does Europe boast such a relatively young leadership? Well, there are a number of possible reasons. European countries generally have the lowest minimum ages to stand as a candidate for their lower houses of parliament, and often have proportional representation or mixed electoral system. Academic research suggests that both low age requirements and proportional or mixed systems increase the political representation of young people in parliaments, which can naturally feed into younger leaders. Everything we've discussed in today's video plays into a broader sense once.
Yeah, Europe got this one figured out. It seems at least more so than.
You think it's working?
Well, 55 compared to what the rest are fielding, it's respectable. Ideally, I guess 55 is respectable, especially because they are 45 on average. So that's definitely great. I think ideally, I would like someone in their 40s, but you know, if the population is in their 40s, I think that's a little unrealistic because the population is kind of aging. So I think if the population is in around 35, and then to have the median 45 for the politicians, that'd be nice. But I mean, still, like we can only wish we were, you know, if we were like Europe, it would be great. Cause right.
What do you think? Like, because in Europe, there's also the issue of the birth rate crisis.
That's why the population is so old.
So in the future, maybe there won't be as many young people who are gonna be leaders.
That's exactly what's gonna happen. The mean population is gonna go up, but also the politicians is gonna go. They're
Yeah.
gonna climb together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in like 10 years, let's say average European population might be, I don't know. It's hard for me to predict. I have no idea, honestly. Like 48. So the maybe average politician might be around 60. I don't know. It's just I'm just guessing. But yeah, definitely because they're aging. Yeah.
Okay. Can I see the comments for this one?
Mm-hmm. I think the main concern with all leaders is that they won't have to live with the possible long-term consequences of their own actions. Facts. War is a place where young people who don't know each other and don't hate each other kill each other by the decision of older rulers who know each other and hate each other but don't kill each other. Facts. 93 and still in office is despicable. I agree. Somewhere along the line, we forgot that
So
high age.
what are their intentions as a 93-year-old? If they say, oh, they don't have to deal with the long-term consequences. Why
Selfish.
do they care to be in office?
Selfish.
in the first
Oh,
place?
selfish. Ego. Ego.
So just ego?
Yeah,
just
ego.
to say you're 93,
Yeah,
you're still
ego.
in
It's
office.
gotta be ego,
However-
power, desperate to show profile.
Mm.
Because imagine if you like at 50 and you get elected or whatever, you might live for another 30, 40 years. So you will deal like global warming consequences, for example. It will affect you. Like if you do some
Or
policies.
you hear about it too.
Yeah, if you do like
Like this-
some
Like some people who are not liked in politics, they still have to hear about
Yeah,
it even
yeah.
after.
So it's like you pass some sort of policies that damage and increase global warming. That you might be there 30 years later as an 80-year-old sitting sweating balls in the winter time. There's, when it's supposed to be snowing, it's 20 degrees Celsius outside. So yeah. And if you're 90 or like 70, that doesn't concern you, so you don't care about no global warming.
Okay. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And always, always, always share as much kindness as possible.